Good afternoon. I'm just doing a quick video about guilty pleasures. Now, if I put that obviously on social media, people are going to be like, oh, guilty pleasures, I wonder what that's all about. Now, one of the things that, and I call it a guilty pleasure because, as you can see in front of me, there is this beautiful bouquet of flowers. They are bright, they are vibrant, they are pink. And when you look outside today, it's raining and you either love the rain or you hate the rain. But when you have flowers in your house or have the opportunity to have like a bouquet or anything living in your property, okay, there's pros and cons if it's animals, but plants can be a little bit more easier to maintain. It does something to your mood. It makes you feel that little bit more happy, that little bit more of joy inside. Now, one of the only negative things I can say about when I have brought bouquets of flowers or have bouquets of flowers in my house is I buy them for myself. I don't think I've had anyone buy me flowers in over a decade. That's not a hint, by the way. I'm not expecting to wake up one morning and for it to be like one of my favourite films, Big Fish, where there are millions of daffodils outside my front window. I mean, it'd be great if that was the case. I'd probably be like, oh my gosh. And then I'd spend all day painstakingly trying to donate them to raise money for ovarian cancer or something. But one of the things that always seems to be in a lot of the bouquets of flowers, but no, I do love the film Big Fish. I know I keep going back to that, but I do. I love that scene where it's just, he buys all these daffodils for her and it's just like a field of daffodils. I mean, it could have been a field of anything. I mean, it could have been sunflowers, but it was daffodils, and just that vibrant colour of yellow was just absolutely amazing in the movie. But like I said, getting back to this bouquet, one of the things that obviously they do put in a lot of bouquets are lilies. Now, if you have pets, especially cats, lilies are actually toxic to cats. So if you do buy a bouquet of flowers, you have two options. You either message them and say, look, I've got pet cats, please don't put lilies in there. Or the moment you get them, remove them. Now, I have tried to grow lilies in my garden. It didn't work. We do have a few cats in the area. I do have a pet cat. She doesn't live with me. She lives with my children and their dad, because my house isn't as pet friendly, as I'm sure everybody would be aware if they've watched any of my videos. And I love the colour and everything that these come in. Now, the company that I actually use to buy my flowers, this is not an advertisement for them, it's not something to do with product placement, but they're actually based in Scotland. I would kind of say they're a small independent type florist. There are a lot of those that are popping up all over social media now and online. And personally, I would go for a more sort of small, independent type florist, as opposed to ones that are more corporate or of a chain or a franchise like Interflora or I'm just trying to think. There are a few out there. And again, like the ones that the supermarkets would use. Sadly, as we know, a lot of the flowers that are in the bouquets within the United Kingdom, most of the time they are imported from abroad, which is why after my bouquets start to dry out, I save the flowers. I have got jars and jars and jars, again, part of my OCD, of dried flowers. And sometimes what I will do is I will press the petals, which sometimes doesn't always work because they might necessarily retain the colour of the roses, depending on the colour of the actual flowers. And what I then do with the dried flowers is I use them in my artwork. I sometimes use them in handmade paper that I've made, or as table decorations, or for collages. But once they are dry, they do become very fragile. So you do have to be very careful with what you do with them. But if anyone was to say, oh, you need to get rid of all these flowers, they're compostable. So again, if push came to shove, they'd go in my compost heap at the bottom of the garden and go back to the earth and be reused and have another sort of lease of life. But it's compost instead of this beautiful spray or array, whichever you want to say, of flowers in front of me. But again, one of the reasons I do like using the company in Scotland is I have a standing order with them. So every month they will send me a bouquet. And with my sort of like depression and anxiety, knowing that at least once a month I'm going to have that knock at the door, even if I don't speak to anyone else in that month, and it'll be the same guy every month, and he'll say, here are your flowers, and I'll be like, oh, thank you. And when any of them have actually have arrived damaged or broken or crushed, you go online. Unfortunately, you do have to do it online. You can't ring them. You just send them some photographs. And one time I brought some of the flowers for a charity event, and they arrived damaged. And literally within 24 hours, this company had replaced my flowers for me free of charge. And I was so relieved, and I was really grateful, because sadly the event didn't go how I wanted it to. It was to raise money and awareness of ovarian cancer with a charity called Overcome. But I did manage to raise over £200 for them, and I just thought to myself, you know what? It was just nice to sort of hopefully get the information out there for people and make them more aware that there are other charities that support people that are living with cancer. I mean, in my opinion, it's a personal choice whether or not you want to support a charity, and I don't think that anyone should feel obligated or be coerced or bullied or harassed or guilt-tripped into giving money to charities. But unfortunately, I know a lot of charities, the only way they can thrive and survive is through donations. But then my argument's always been, well, if you can afford to pay somebody in corporate 60 grand a year to be a manager of this charity or this particular branch, then maybe they need to look at having a pay cut if you're struggling to stay open, or they're obviously not doing their job. But that's just my opinion. And there are a lot of charities out there that I think to myself, well, I'm sorry, do you really need to be paying your managers over £250,000? What is it they are doing to be able to afford that money, to be paid that amount of money? Especially if you're there trying to support people that literally need that help and guidance. And then again, I think to myself, hang on, if I do donate money to you, what is that going to be spent on? If it is just going to be so that your manager can drive a brand new Mercedes next year, then I'm not going to give it you. So again, I think it's really important. It's one of those double-edged sword type things that when people do donate money to charities, that through Freedom of Information Act and one thing and another, that it's clear and concise that if people did want to access that information to find out exactly where that money has gone and what the money that people donate gets used for, then it may help people to be more charitable in the future. But again, like I've said to people, one thing that you can never give back or get back is your time. So over the years, like most people, I have volunteers for charities. But now, unfortunately, I'm at that point in my life where I have my children to provide for. I'm not currently able to work full-time because I am a full-time living carer for my disabled son. So I don't mind using charity shops, especially local ones, when I know that and believe that what the information they're giving me is that that money is definitely going back into the community. So, I mean, yeah, I am using a florist in Scotland when a brand new one has literally just opened up the road from me. But again, I use them because they're cost effective for me personally. They always deliver on time. Their bouquets literally almost last a month. And I'm not going to say who they are because obviously I'm not promoting them as a business. And some days I can't leave the house. So as much as I would love to be able to have the opportunity to use local companies and local businesses, unless they can deliver, which maybe that's something local businesses need to think about. I know a lot more of them are now on like places like Deliveroo and Just Eat. But if more companies did that, I know it is a cost to the company, especially if they're not making any money, but could get it out there. Hey, you know, I'm on Just Eat. Hey, I'm on Deliveroo. I will deliver flowers to you. Then maybe I would use a local florist. But with this one, I have been quite happy with them. And for that reason, would say for over a year now, I've been a customer of theirs and would definitely, if anyone asked me in person, what florist would you recommend? They would be my first choice. So hopefully by not listening to me ramble too much about my guilty pleasure here of being able to see this beautiful bouquet of flowers in front of me that, yes, I did buy for myself, it's been able to brighten up your day. And you know what? If you do have the opportunity and the time to grow your own, do it. But unfortunately, sometimes people don't have that option. And again, people are probably going to say, well, if you've got money to buy flowers, you've got money to take care of yourself with your illness and disabilities. But buying myself flowers is one of the ways that helps my illness and disability. Because something as simple as watching something grow, even though obviously these aren't growing, they've been cut. But just having something like this can really boost somebody's morale and really brighten their day. So if you haven't done it for a while and think somebody you know or love or care for deserves a bouquet of flowers, be careful though. I wouldn't want you to just buy them and then get you into trouble by them saying, hang on a minute, why have they brought me flowers? What are they trying to hide, or what are they guilty about? But you know, maybe it's an option. Maybe it's something to think about over the weekend. But you know what? If I could grow these in my garden 365 days a year, 7 days a week, I would. Because, again, that's one of my pet hates about where the window is positioned in my garden. Sorry, in my kitchen, which looks out to the garden, is I don't have the opportunity to stand there while I'm washing up and watch the grass grow, watch the flowers grow, watch the wildlife grow. Because of where the sink is positioned, my view is slightly obscured. Whereas my next door neighbour, she says to me, I love it. It's one of the highlights of my day, washing up in the morning and seeing what new life today has brought, and that I'm having the opportunity to see. And I just love that. I love how she says that and says, I just love standing at my window, washing up in the morning, and seeing what new life today has brought for me to have the opportunity to see. And you know what? If everybody could have that option, I really think, personally, that we would be a lot more happier and maybe not take little things for granted so much. But there is nothing more amazing or magical, in my opinion, than having the opportunity to see new life, even if it is only for a little while. So enjoy your Sunday, and if you have any guilty pleasures, indulge in them. You deserve it.